I'm David, and this is David Talks.
I'm Dave. I'm back on David Talks.
And I'm Joshua. I'm back on David Talks.
Hey.
Alright. I want to talk. All right, let's get started with these diaper words. I want to talk about these disgruntled, manipulating employees.
Came out the gate swinging.
So listen, this girl started for the very first time at work just yesterday, and she's already telling me about social media and we need codes, assuming I don't have any. And what's the best way to go about making money? She just got there. Okay. Business that's been around for 20 years. I've been in for 5, and she thinks she knows best, right? Okay, good. I try to explain to her, I understand you're thinking about what's best for you, but you're not thinking overall what's best for the business. And I asked her a question about her charging happy hour prices way after that fact.
Right.
And she's like, I don't know. She appears to be stalling, and then she said, what's the problem? I don't see where the problem is. Right? And me, in my head, I was red. You know, my mind was red. You know, how dare she?
How dare you?
Wait, what's the word you say? The
mitigated gall.
The audacity.
Exactly. I'm saying to myself, so I said, let me calm down. I'm professional. So she came back over and I said, what makes you think it's okay for you to talk to me like that? Same tone, probably a little lower. She's right next to me. She said, well, I had customers over there and I was trying to do my job.
You know who her diaper word goes to.
Right? Later on, she comes back and goes, oh, I didn't mean to come out like that. I apologize. I was just trying, just a bunch of different random things.
Yeah.
I had to explain to her in another way later on how, in detail, everything. So listen, this is the way we've been doing it, and we're not interested in reinventing the wheel. I understand you're interested in codes for Instagrams. So I asked her, so...
You like hashtags and all that?
Well, she means the whole kit and caboodle, but watch this. Listen to this. She says, so yeah, we need codes for the Instagram so we can, you know, start posting and promoting the place. And I said to her, so this is what we're going to do. She wasn't expecting this. I said, well, what you're going to do is you're going to post on your Instagram and then tag us in our branding company, which she had no idea we had. Right. We just hired one, which is very expensive. We actually get a discount on that. Right. Our branding company will eventually post it. They'll be alerted. Very professional people. She said, oh, she left it alone. Then I said, so do you have what's your Instagram account? I deleted it, she says. She's deleted her her Instagram account. She has not one, but yeah, she's trying to tell us about codes and promoting.
She ain't want to give it. She got an Instagram account.
I think she does have an Instagram. What do y'all think?
Well, the thing is, it just makes me wonder, right? What are you hiding? Why would you even need to delete your Instagram?
I don't even think she's hiding anything. I think she just came up with something because she was being defensive.
Yeah, I was thinking that was the first thing I thought about. And then the second thing, I was like, maybe she does have an Instagram, but she probably has something on there that she doesn't want people to see. Could be that.
I don't know, man.
I think find out because you know why?
You found that too?
No. I didn't look. You know what? I just, if so many things happen with this particular employee, I didn't get a chance to. But I'm pretty sure if I look, which I've done before, and found out, yeah, they were lying. Oh, which reminds me that another girl said she didn't have an Instagram account, and she absolutely did. And that's what I'm talking about. All these, I'm gonna literally. I have about 25 easy diaper awards just on the employees alone. So I think she does. So she goes, I'm gonna reactivate my Instagram account. Then I told her, I said, yeah, so we're flying this person from LA, you know, room and board, it's expensive, you know, it's gonna be a big thing. I didn't tell her that we're gonna do a press conference and all that, but she was so impressed. Oh, really? Because I thought, you know, you know, a lot of places just close down and they don't give any notice. I'm just looking at her like, okay, so funny. And then even so, she tried to tell me how I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna give you 5 diapers. How dare you disrespect on your first day at work? Try to control the whole entire situation.
Where's she from?
She lives in well, I want to say she lives in New York City. Originally from New York City, from what I know.
Right.
She's from another country in Europe. Just leave it at that.
But you think maybe what if she does have a crazy marketing plan?
Well, the thing is, right?
You think it's more or less the way she came across about it?
Well, it's fair to assume that. I appreciate your insight on it. However, because so many people have presented this, it taught me from experience, from the trial and error, that approach is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
When you just get at a job and you're so ambitious, and you're trying to control and take over, it's a really bad sign.
Mm-hmm. Because
anyone that's trying to do a good job, they're focusing on the job at hand first.
Right.
They're not so vocal. And it doesn't mean that you're not entitled to free speech. But when you're so vocal and you don't even have the job right,
right.
You don't even know where the store is to go buy strawberries, but yet you're telling us how to change our business.
Yeah. I think you can't work at a place for one day and know how everything is run. You know what I mean? To even come up with an opinion.
Yeah.
Well, and yet when you first started the job that you have now,
yeah,
would you have assumed the first day of work that your job doesn't have social media?
Nah.
Did that even cross your mind?
No.
Why? Any particular reason?
Because, I was focused on just making sure that I secured my spot first, And I'm more of like if you ask me, I'll give my honest opinion, but I'm not just gonna especially if I feel like I'm not at that position yet, I'm not gonna.
Why wouldn't you though?
It's not really that I feel like it's not my place. It's just I don't know. It's just you gotta build a certain rapport with people first.
No, that's true.
Mean? Common sense, or what do you think?
I think you could be right about the way you're looking at it, but it could also be that she fell in love with the place.
Okay.
And she was inspired, and she felt like the place deserved to be saved, and she just kind of jumped out the window. I don't know. She could have just been that passionate about it, or it could be the opposite. She probably hated the place and was like, "This place could be better," and
She's being critical.
Right. It could be either way, but I do agree with he's saying, with Josh is saying about not even being settled in or and absorbing the culture of the establishment. But I mean, everybody has their different ways about going, with things. You go through a more professional way of settling down. I think what she did was unprofessional.
Why do you think that?
Because for the simple fact that she just kind of jumped the gun with assuming things, and then talking to you like if she had all the answers or you haven't even tried them. It wasn't even a question, it was more of a suggestion. And I don't think that was purposeful or even deliberately disrespectful. I just think it was negligent and just not considerate of, her surroundings. I don't know her though. Okay. But I'm giving it I'm speaking objectively because I've been in a situation where I see someone come to a job and be like, "Oh, let's put handprints all over the place." And you're looking at them like, "What are you talking about?" We've tried these things and you want to make things better. We get it, but just slow down. But I mean, you could be 100% right.
Well, what do you think about the fact that and there's so much to mention, but I'm going to keep it really short because we have a lot of ground to cover. But what do you think about the fact that when I questioned her way after the time it was happy hour, and I'm like, why these people are closed out and there's only happy hour prices, and she just was not really addressing it and just saying, "What's the problem? I don't see where the problem is," and walking away from me. What do you think about that?
Well, again, it's
unprofessional. It was
pressure.
She was put on the spot. She didn't know how to respond to it. She may have not thought that she was gonna get caught. You know what I mean? So it's just I
didn't even say that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. I didn't even say she was caught or she did anything wrong.
Oh.
But Is it?
I mean,
obvious?
I've worked, you know, like I ring up order, like, you know, I work in a restaurant, so I know that there's only certain times where you can ring up happy hour drinks and things like that. So, yeah, you know, if I were to ring up happy hour drinks when it's not happy hour, that, you know, I can get in trouble for it. So,
Why is that?
because it's lesser prices and, you know what I mean. So it's just, it's really a money thing, to be honest with you.
It could be a lot of things. It could be
Yeah.
totally innocent and her not realizing because she's new, or it could be she wants to get a bigger tip, so she's keeping, you know, she's looking out for the customer. So it's like it could go either way, but I guess time will tell.
Right. So I don't want to influence any opinions. That's why I said it the way I said. When I'm not sure, you picked up different things about it. So one thing she said was that they had on a different bill and she closed them out already, except that the screen was open.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like excuses, but she's new, so.
Well, you know, I'll leave it there, right?
She gets 2 diapers from me though. For
Two
sure.
diapers?
Yeah.
I feel like there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
I think she may have came across that way because she has that personality where she's like very passionate and like maybe, you know, she feels like she has something to offer, you know what I mean?
Okay, and let me add one thing I said, because on an empathetic level, I said to her, before I said, why do you think it's okay for you to speak to me like that? I said, let me ask you a question. I didn't use that tone with you, so I don't understand why you're using that tone with me. And what makes you think it's okay for you to speak to me like that?
Well, I mean, like, to me, you painted a character, you know? Like, you painted from your perspective. It just seems like she's being defensive.
Okay.
And she's trying to stand her ground, find her footing, and, you know, just see what she could get away with, testing the waters. You know, but I think that's everybody, just a lot smart. Well, I wouldn't say smarter, but more intelligent people would be a little more subtle about testing the waters. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, how many diapers would you give her?
I would give her like 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, because I do feel like she was being rude, you know, in the way that she responded. I feel like she did feel like she was on the spot, you know. Like, it's different, you know, for understanding why somebody did something, but it doesn't make it right. It doesn't justify it, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Right.
But I think that's just maybe from my perspective. I always try to, like, figure out why somebody did what they did, whether it was right or wrong. So,
Okay.
I mean, I do feel like, you know, it was good that you addressed it. And if she were to continue to do things like that, then it would be then I would give her like 10 diapers. Because at that point,
Passing 5 diapers?
she gets 10 diapers after. Because that's just like flat out, she has no respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
You got any diaper awards?
Yeah, it's kind of work related, but it's not an employee, right?
Yeah.
Well, it involves an employee.
Okay.
Right? So this dude comes in.
Yeah.
He already looks like he's a little bit off, like, I don't know, something was just not right about it. And he lights a cigarette in the restaurant, walks by the bar, right?
Wow.
So I see, I'm like, excuse me, you cannot do that in here. He just ignores me, right? So I go get a manager, right?
Yeah.
So I get the manager comes down. Excuse me, you're gonna have to leave. This dude flicks the cigarette right at the manager.
Oh, no, that's crazy.
Like, he just flicks it at him, and I'm just like,
Dang.
then we have a security guard, the security guard escorted him out. But I was just like,
wait.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I need you to not skip
That's
past.
gangster.
I need. Hold on. I need you to rewind halfway your story.
All right.
and stop up to the part where the security escorted him out. How exactly did the security escort him out?
So I would have thought that, you know, he'd have to like escort him out with force, but I don't know, he just complied with it.
Right.
And he just walked out with him. I guess the security guard is pretty big, so I guess he just was like, all right, let me not even try to like, you know.
WWE.
I gotta know.
Yeah, nah, it was. I thought it was gonna be crazy.
What race was this guy flicking cigarettes?
He was black. The manager was black.
That's one of those. How did I miss that?
Wait, the guy flipped the cigarette was black?
What you thought he was?
I didn't know. I felt like what I pictured was someone with money. I couldn't, you know. And to be honest, it depends on who he flicked the cigarette at.
I mean, he was being belligerent.
The manager was black also?
The manager was black too, yeah. I was just like...
So the fact that he kept it cool, the manager kept it cool, and security kept... That establishment...
Well, for me, like, I figure if somebody's doing that, they're not all that right in the head. So I'm not going to, like, get crazy and get mad because they're not going to understand on that level. Mm-hmm. So that's why I got a manager in the first place. But I'm just like... I
mean, if you think about it, to me, it sounds like a setup. Like they wanted to get thrown out.
Well, yeah. Wait, how was he dressed?
He had like this, like kind of like an overcoat, like a long coat.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he was like
jeans.
He had like.
Was he clean? Like
he had boots, like winter boots.
Okay.
Kind of rough facial hair, like it wasn't really like cleaned up.
Like hipster?
No, older dude. Probably like 40s, 50s, maybe. I don't know. Like maybe I would say he's definitely in his 50s.
You said rough, so he didn't have it.
It wasn't breaking news. Dave Chappelle fixed the cigarette. Nah, he didn't have like a shaped up facial hair. He didn't have like it wasn't like that.
Interesting.
It's like I wouldn't say that he was homeless.
Yeah, the
but I wouldn't say he was. Not like a corporate dude, like you know what I mean, like you know what I'm saying. He had like a winter hat, winter boots.
You dealt with it in a very professional way. You didn't take it personal. That's a lot. That's a lot of maturity.
I kind of found it funny because I was like, how the hell is this dude? Like, how's he really doing this?
It hit the manager.
Yeah, it hit him right in the chest. I was just like,
oh man.
Yo, I was a little bit in shock. I was just like, is this really happening right now?
I'm definitely giving him 5 diapers.
Yeah,
even with a mental illness,
yeah,
he's getting 5 diapers. He deserves every last diaper.
I think he wants the diaper awards. Like you have to want the diaper awards.
He wants to be nominated.
He knew about the diaper awards. He's like, I want a spot. I want to be nominated. You know what I mean?
You got it, bro. Congratulations.
You got it, man. Congratulations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, he definitely get it. That's a $5.
That's 5, right?
What
you got? What you give him?
Nah, I give him 5.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Clean,
that's clean.
And I don't give $5 like
clean.
That's across the board. That's terrible.
Sweet.
You gotta definitely.
That's disrespect on that level.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in a position of somebody flicking a cigarette? I honestly won't. I don't know.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I've been in other situations. I won't lie. I've been in some real trying situations that I let go. Definitely, I can say that. I'm happy I dealt with it the way I did. Mm-hmm. What about you? What's your diaper award?
I see y'all always come with these convoluted light
entendres.
Yeah, like so.
I'm gonna have to call this label.
Oh yeah. If y'all want to sponsor, feel free to sponsor.
Oh, absolutely.
Y'all can get sponsored on the diaper.
Y'all be doing a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I appreciate that.
But Harvey Weinstein gets my diaper award. And I don't know if y'all know, but he's facing charges of sexual misconduct, and
he's with the Walker now.
Nah, so like I feel like what it seems to be is that everyone that gets in trouble in Hollywood or any executive position, their defense is that they're getting sick, they're too old to go to jail, and to me it's just kind of tiring at this point. And maybe his health is depleting because he's facing,
right.
some real serious jail time, I guess. Right. But I don't buy it, and I've seen other comments he's made on like these trials, like he was untouchable, but yeah. So Harvey Weinstein gets my diaper award.
Yeah.
Because it's just sad at this point. I feel like it's just being it's like a mockery.
Man, that's such a deep conversation to get in. I'm just gonna touch on it a bit. My opinion of it is culture, the culture that was accepted and it's not my culture, but just that practice of people doing sexual favors to get put in positions, and I'm sure then they have other situations where people are forcing themselves sexually on others, which is another level,
right?
Which is terrible.
I mean, I think it's such a deep rooted practice in Hollywood culture. It's just like it's almost like nothing at this point. I was just watching the Vlad TV interview with the guy that played Eddie Winslow from Family Matters. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember him.
Yeah, he seems very humble. Like he's like a real chill dude.
Yes.
But you can tell when someone's like deeply affected by something, and he's made comments in the past about being like molested in the past, or or something sexual inappropriate while he was a child, but he's never actually come out and said who it was. He's only said it was like a director or a producer.
You think it's a lot harder or not taking that seriously when it's a man doing it to a boy versus a man doing it to a girl, or a woman doing it to a boy? Because I say that because I remember having a summer job. I was young. I was like 14 or so years old, and make a long story short, a position of the woman in a position of authority.
Right.
Yeah. I guess she was a counselor or something. She had like a regular job. That was my first summer job. And some girls, my peers came up to me and was like, "Oh, this lady likes you." I was like, really? Like, I'm not, I guess I said some bad things or whatever. Like, she's not my type, whatever. They was pressuring me and all of this, and I was just like, seriously, like, to get them off my back. I'm like, look, she's ugly. You know what I mean? Next thing I know, I'm getting transferred. And why? I'm like, why am I getting transferred?
Right.
No, you know what I mean? I got transferred to maintenance at another site altogether out of nowhere. And it's terrible how things like that also happen to men, but no one either wants to hear it, or it's like, oh yeah, you're a man, or yeah, you should be, flattered or whatever.
Did you say something about it to anyone?
At that time, honestly, I wasn't educated enough to even deal with it at the age of 14. It was a completely brand new experience, from every angle. We don't have the social media that we have today, just to begin with, and it was not a conversation that anyone ever had around me.
Right.
TV was very controlled at that time. Conversations was more controlled because people are controlled by television. What we see and how things
it's beyond television. I think it's just deep rooted in black culture alone, and I think it's even harder for you as a young black man.
Too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, even so, it's as a black man, as a black boy, it's even harder to get your voice across. Even when dudes like Terry Crews voices his concerns and how he was sexually assaulted by someone. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, I think it might have. I don't want to say any wrong names, but I know what you're talking about.
Right. He was laughed at by the culture, and even Twitter. Certain people would try to back him up, but it was kind of drowned out by the jokes, And some jokes are funny, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into, about World War III. But some jokes are funny. It's just you can't help but laugh at certain things. But it's funny when it's a male, let alone a black male. But if it's a woman, it's not the same thing. But and that's not to take away from the woman's plight of being sexually assaulted or even anything like that. But at the same time, I don't think there's any real voice in that for any young boy. Even when he said it, Vlad didn't really delve into it. He was more concerned about getting the answers than being sensitive to the topic. When clearly the dude that I don't know his name, but the one that played Eddie Winslow was like, I don't really want to say it. I'm not ready to say it. And as a grown man, and had a long career afterwards, he's still not ready. And what his concern was, I don't want to ruin their life because it happened so long ago.
You think that he's being sympathetic to the fact of the culture? And I'm not even making excuses for the guy that's walking down with a walker or whatever the case may be.
Harvey Weinstein.
But I definitely do. Because you definitely want to understand the whole root of it. Throwing a book at somebody is it could be considered an easy thing to do, but not understanding how did he get to that level where it was accepted. Because it's not like people didn't know what was going on.
Well, there's certain things that people say that show you who they are.
Right.
Like even in our last episode, a couple episodes ago, when I was understanding to the guy that attempted to kidnap the girl.
Yeah.
And I came from a place of maybe he's innocent.
Right.
He even mentioned that Charlie Sheen was a good friend of him, and Charlie Sheen has been accused of sexual misconduct, and so he saw how it ruined his life. So he's saying that, he's saying certain things like in shadow, but I think he doesn't want to feel responsible for someone else getting scrutinized and facing that kind of totality.
Do you think he's doing it just to raise awareness rather than to, I guess, ruin? I guess he doesn't want to ruin the person's life. You think he forgives the person?
No, I don't think he forgives a person. I don't. I think he might come across as so, as such, but I think
he cares about the person.
Yeah, I think it's
because for him to say like, "Oh, I don't want to ruin his life,"
right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to care about the
person. It's almost the what is it called?
It's like it's a syndrome, some type of syndrome, right?
Yeah. Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I think you fall in love with your abuser and stuff like that. Yeah. But that's really deep.
And then you fall in love, knowing that what they're doing is wrong, and then you're still defending.
What do you know the guy that did the Golden Globes, the host?
What's his name?
The British comedian dude.
It's funny because we were just watching the video yesterday.
Right. But he had mentioned he had mentioned what's his name? Jeffrey
Epstein.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. How the theory about him killing himself. People were offended by the joke, and he goes, "Why are you offended? Because he would have flew you guys out here, like you guys are his friends." And he was involved in sex trafficking with children. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's taking shots at Hollywood. Like you guys are accepting of this type of behavior and this type of culture. Mm-hmm. And when I touch on it, you guys are like in an uproar or even appalled.
You know why? I feel like it's because they're all a part of it.
Right.
And this is why the people don't get, they don't face the consequences because there's so many people involved in it that if everybody were to be caught or held accountable, like there probably would be nobody in Hollywood.
Well, see, and I think it's like you just said. I think it's like a gang or a mafia or like organized crime where you're initiated. And he even says in his interview, it's not your talent, it's what you do with your talent, and that's very powerful. I think that means a lot more than face value. But I think certain people make it in Hollywood because of acceptance or because of friendships. And I see a lot more now that people like 50 Cent or they're calling out people like Oprah, and it seems to me to be that they're coming out with these documentaries about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby, but not the Harvey Weinsteins or Jeffries and these other white upper tier powers in Hollywood. And he said that she's 50 Cent voiced that she seems to be attacking the black men,
Well,
and so I mean, it's been rumors for years that's been going on with Oprah. It's almost acceptable now. So it's like people are, and I think that goes with it as well. That people are afraid to voice how they feel about certain people because of that stigma of you say something about Oprah or you say something about Trump or Jeffrey Epstein, then you're going to be shunned from Hollywood or you won't make it in entertainment. It's almost created that fear.
Right. Her rapper Monique, she basically called out Oprah in front of like a bunch of actresses. I think it was like an award after show. Mm-hmm. She said like people like Kerry Washington was there, like Regina King, like a lot of these like A-list actresses were there. She actually called out Oprah in front of all of them, and then Oprah kind of made it seem like she was crazy and things like that.
Well, I mean, look, first off, I support any, especially any black person reaching success financially and with the public. However, it's how they do it, and I get it. You do whatever it takes to get out of poverty and stay out of poverty. Someone creates a road for you, and they say, "Look, you can make it. This could be an easy road for you, and it could be, there's a lot of prizes on this road, and you can, it's gonna be easy."
But it's like, what do you get when you get like, in this is like a perfect example of what I mean, right? I feel like people like Oprah or people around them, maybe not Oprah herself, but they want to reach that level, that status of royalty. And like you can see how the what's the actress that married the prince? They're stepping down.
Meghan Markle.
Yeah, Meghan Markle, right? And they're stepping down from that position of power, and they're getting a lot of slack for it. From that campaign. But Twitter's supporting them. Like Twitter's like like live a normal life, and they get catching slack from the powers that be. And it's funny how people that she's like an actress,
Well,
but she had the chance to become a princess or like a duchess, right?
Yeah.
And it's like she has that chance to become actual royalty, but they're actually moving away from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like
Yeah, but you know, you also have, and I'm not trying to like lead away from the whole Oprah situation. I just want to say something. You know, there's a lot of people that paid the price. Like, you know, what's her name? Diana, Prince Diane.
oh yeah, Princess Diana,
right?
Yeah.
You know, her accident. Matter of fact, I seen that in Paris where that took place at. Her accident is questionable, right?
Right.
Because she was having an affair, and you know,
I don't know. I think they labeled it as an affair, but I don't think it was an affair per se.
okay,
I think it was an unsanctioned relationship. Basically, like she's Christian or Catholic, or you know how whatever religion they would claim, and the guy that she was seeing, he was Muslim. So I think it had a lot to do with politics and religion. And I mean, you know, people could call it conspiracy and all that, but it's kind of cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? And she was speaking out against a lot of things that were going on in politics, even in the United States. So I think she was just dangerous within itself. And whether she was right or wrong, I think it just ruffled some feathers. You know, whether it was an accident or not, it was convenient for someone.
Yeah, I just feel like I watched interviews that she's done, but it's like she knew what could have happened if she kept speaking about certain things. Like she knew what they were capable of. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it strengthens that theory.
so you think that, you know, it's kind of like we're gonna make it look like an accident, but it's a warning, and you also feel that in this day of time, it's easy to find things out. Like, you know, it's hard.
It's
to
harder to
hide
hush
these
it.
things. You know
Well,
what
I mean, I think, and I always talk about Kanye West for whatever reason. I think he's one of the people that kind of sheds light on those type of things,
Right.
and not even through his words, because he doesn't flat out say it's an Illuminati or nothing like that. He more or less, I think, seems to be buying his way back to something in good graces of whomever he believes in or whatever he believes in.
Right.
But he still treads that line of politics. He doesn't go too far.
Okay.
And he threatens it at times, and I think that's just a battle within himself,
Right.
and he's projecting. But it does seem to be an upper tier of like some kind of, not mafia, but like some kind of, you know, like club, you know, high, you know.
Well, I think, you know, I mean, obviously, if we've done talk shows and all we talked about was dysfunctional, we would have to be Caucasian. Let's imagine that for a second. And all we talked about was dysfunctional Caucasian families. You know, that would be the equivalent of the Oprah Winfrey situation. You know, and I've noticed that for many, many years. I've spoke about that, you know what I mean? I don't have anything against her, but you know, in regards to like dysfunctional households, absent fathers, things like that, it was always looking like at your own culture in a negative way.
Well, and I do agree with that, and whether that was purposeful or not, it's unclear. From what I seen, her argument is more of a tough love situation. She's being tougher on the people she loves, so they stand up more, become stronger out of it. I could see that argument, but I could also see where it's like that's an excuse for actions. I mean, I've seen, you know, documentaries and.
Is it red?
Yes.
All right, we're back. Technical difficulties, and where were we?
We're talking about culture of Hollywood, and
Okay.
but I mean, we can wrap it up. Basically,
We're gonna wrap it up. You know, we all have our own ideas. I don't think anybody should be scrutinized just because they're discussing something, which is not necessarily bad mouthing anybody.
Right. It's dialogue.
Yeah, we're just talking.
It's a conversation.
And people feel a lot of ways. They don't want to say. They just automatically are designed. And I'm gonna say design and influence how to think. So if someone says something about somebody that you're so infatuated with, you automatically take a side, and it's not about that. It's about enlightening and making things better. And so we're gonna move on. All right, so we're gonna move on to how did I miss that?
Okay.
All right, so social media, Facebook. I'm looking through my Facebook, and somebody said on Facebook, bright and early, I'm at the shop. Bright and early, I'm at the shop. Who's coming through? Hit me up or something, right?
So what time is it?
That's the part. So I'm looking. I'm saying, why is the background showing that the barbershop gate is down? And I looked at the time, and it was 11:36 a.m. Wait.
I can't even believe.
Wait. What's cold? Me? I'm cold. Yo, I'm just saying myself. What's some people's bright and early? What's your bright and early? What does that mean to you?
Bright and early is when the crack of dawn.
What does bright and early mean to you?
I mean, 11:30.
Yeah, 11:30.
Yo, I'm like, wow, ready to work, bright and early. Bright to me means like a minimum. I'm gonna say no later than 8 a.m.
Right. I mean, no barbershop is gonna be
What?
No barbershop is gonna be
12 o'clock. They open at 12.
Yeah.
Wait. That's the barbershop you guys go to. The barbershop that I go to is 8:30.
Oh, that's early.
Yeah, well,
That's bad.
I'm busy.
Somebody cutting hair at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, look.
Jeez.
I know that's why I'm particular, because I have a very busy schedule, and unlike some people, I'm not staying in a barbershop for 3 hours.
Right.
I'm not doing that. We talked about this.
Well,
I
people
am
like
not
the
doing
barbershop culture, though. People
That's-
want to be involved in the
That's great.
conversation, and
I remember that. All right, but I love you, man. You know I love you. All right, so
Moving on.
moving right along. All right, so now listen. Some people got a lot of rules in their house, right? You come to someone's house, they want you to take off their shoes. I remember that's you.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sitting on my bed with outside clothes.
Why is that?
that's me too.
I understand that.
Well, it kind of bothers me sometimes. You know what's crazy? You know what? I sit on it wasn't my bed. I sit on, lady, I'm with or whatever. I sit on a bed.
The outside clothes.
No, I sit on her on a cover.
The comforter.
The comforter. With
The outside clothes.
No, with no clothes. and she said, she said, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. How you gonna sit on? I don't understand how people can sit on the bed. If you was under the covers is one thing, but over the covers.
What?
Was she afraid that's gonna happen?
Well, see, that's
You gonna leave a mark?
Well, you know what? Maybe, I don't know.
Yo.
It's funny because I ain't gonna lie. Like the first time I heard this complaint, so I didn't know how to react. So it took me some time to realize it. She didn't have the problem with me under the covers, butt naked. But she had a problem with me over the comforter because I sit over the comforter with my outside clothes. It's like almost like sitting on whatever somebody else has been sitting on.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't like nobody on my bed at all with any clothes. That's why no one's on my bed.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
Because outside clothes is disgusting. You
It's
traveling,
bacteria.
you sitting on chairs other people sat in,
Yeah.
like just disgusting.
I understand that concept.
No, I get it too. One thing used to bother me. Superstitions really bothered me.
Right.
Somebody says, "Oh, I don't like hats on the bed." And I know
Right,
that
right.
that's
Hats,
kind of thing is
bags.
passed on. I get it.
Yeah.
Because those people don't have any explanation. They just someone told them that one day, and now they just
They don't
run
want to
with
take the
this
risk.
until the day they die. Goodness gracious.
Well, I mean, it's just again like when people who pass down from higher generations, just people take it and run with it for their lives. Like for example, I don't know if you guys heard, if you eat carrots, it helps your eyesight. I don't know if you
I've heard that. Wait, you think that's a superstition?
No. It's just
Oh.
it's something that we teach our children, or have been taught to us. But really, that was just a rumor that was started in World War II, just to deplete the Germans, spending resources. So it would help them. It actually started with, like their eye vision at nighttime. You know what I mean? Their night vision. That's what it was supposed to help. And from there, it just kind of changed to just vision in general, and then we take it like, okay, let's eat some carrots and I can see better. But it's false. It's a false.
Oh, damn.
It's not even
See,
real.
you just told me something new today.
That's what I'm saying. So like, with superstition, you think like you put your bag on a bed, you lose money. You put your hat on on the bed, you lose life, and it's stuff like that. But like you said, it's explanations for things that don't make sense for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, which reminds me a little bit off the subject. Grandfather was in World War II, and he told a story about how he was eating, and he was just like, "Give me some more of this. What's this?" And it was, I believe,
no, I'm gonna say some balls.
It was actually dog, and he all of a sudden he got sick.
Yeah.
For 3 weeks, and he was throwing up, and obviously it's a mind thing.
Right.
He enjoyed it otherwise, and I'm assuming they had to do
that's crazy.
what they had to do at the time,
right?
Whatever was around to be able to feed. You got to think how many soldiers you have to feed, and where you getting the food to feed these people.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a mind.
Like you know what I mean? It wouldn't be realistic at those times, technology wise, to fly food and drop food. They have now care packages or whatever the case may be. Right. Realistically, what they would keep them strong and fit, whatever the case may be.
I mean, we all if you eat Chinese food, you be dog and cat. Ain't
Mystery meat.
No racism. Just saying.
No, that's nothing to do with racism. That's just fact.
Well, at this time now, in this day and time, it's common
fact.
knowledge for people that don't know this. Believe it or not,
it's not even illegal
anymore.
It's not.
Oh wow!
But I must say this: have you ever seen a delivery truck bring in meats to the Chinese food spot? Have you ever seen that?
No. That's a good
I've
observation.
never seen that in my life.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, so they lure the rats and. I mean, it's I've seen videos.
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
You catch my.
Some people say, no, don't tell me. No, don't tell me.
This General Tso's meat is really gummy right now.
It's good as hell though.
Bro,
It
let me
is
tell you
good.
something. I would
Tom
say
and Jerry.
this,
General Tom and Jerry.
I'm not. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I got
General
a lot of
Tom and
jokes.
Jerry.
I got a lot of
General
jokes. Shout out to those
gooey
people.
good.
Shout out to those people that still drink milk.
Trans fats.
I'm just saying. Shout out to those people that when you tell them about milk, no, I don't want to hear it. No.
That's good.
Calcium.
I just seen something where somebody was. It was a show, right, where somebody put something in the milk, and they would discuss it, but it's.
Or they put out Falcon milk.
Right. And they were
Yeah.
discussing about it, but we drink worse things in our regular cereal.
Well, that's true. I
They
mean,
put chemicals. I actually heard recently that if you are gonna drink cow's milk, it's better to drink whole milk rather than 2% or one. Yeah, exactly. I don't even think it's just watered down. I think it's something that they put in the milk to dilute it, and that you know what I mean.
Ugh.
So it's just like you know what I mean. You're drinking. They say that you're drinking more
I like
chemicals.
all the nasty chemical stuff.
well,
Even with cereal. Cereal's healthier
I just
now, but
learned
it's
why
just good.
because of the sugar.
Yeah.
It does something to the chemicals in our bodies where it's like 3 times potent. It releases a chemical where that's why we enjoy it so much because of that.
But like even the whole grain cereal is like not as good. Like even Captain Crunch doesn't have that same poison taste. This is
naturally it was never designed to overindulge in eating, and this is how they make their money. So I get it. It's a money thing, like you said earlier.
Which you said it wasn't designed for it, or it was?
Our taste buds, our chemicals, and releasing certain things in our bodies. We were designed to, like, if you notice, we indulge in a lot of sugars.
Yeah.
And we can drink this much of juice.
That's true.
Doesn't make sense. Our stomachs is just
I've eaten a whole box of cereal and still be hungry after.
Of course.
So it's kind of strange. I'm serious.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
so serious.
yeah, that's crazy.
Not even munch. I know people think, oh, munchies. No, for real. As
Of
a
course.
kid.
I mean, yeah, understanding how the chemicals work. This is why we can eat a lot of sugars. This is why if you drink like a orange juice, what you buy from the store,
We can't even have orange juice, man.
well, I'm just saying, there's a difference. What's the
No,
difference between orange juice we buy in the store versus an orange and that you would eat a fruit? You're not you know, if you squeeze an orange, you're gonna have maybe a glass.
Non-GMOs.
You're gonna have maybe a glass.
8 ounces.
But you're not gonna drink the whole. You're not gonna drink this much juice like when you get it in the bottle.
Right.
Because the sugar that is in it is not as strong.
Right.
So again, we're gonna keep drinking it. This feels good. This tastes so good. You know, because it tricks our mind. It makes us feel like we enjoy it more than we actually do. So it's definitely a trick, and understand the chemicals, how they react. Or I won't get into that right now.
Tropicana, if you want to sponsor, man, feel free to send us a check.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
you
know,
drink right now.
we'll drink it.
I don't know, maybe not. Maybe
Minute
not.
Maid?
It has to be less harmful than milk. I'm just gonna say that.
I mean, it's animal milk, so I mean.
Yeah, I'm you know, I'm trying to wing off all that. That's just me, you know. It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, where do you get your protein from?
They got the new one is oat milk. I don't know if you try oat milk.
Well, I did see it. I still be trying that diamond milk, and it tells you this may make you bloated.
I know.
You read it, and it's like this is gonna make you bloated. So you already know it's gonna give you gas because it has these chemicals in it.
See, when y'all talk about almond milk, that just disgusts me for
Nah,
whatever reason.
but oat milk is
Breast milk, anything other than cow milk is disgusting to me.
hey, breast milk. I'd rather have breast milk, even though we shouldn't.
from the teats. Nah.
No, listen, breast milk at least it's high in protein.
You ever seen breast milk in a can or like a bottle?
No,
It's all clear,
I'm just saying, it tastes
all yellow.
It tastes so funny because we're not accustomed to it, right?
No, it's natural for us and it's better for us in every way. And I don't think we're supposed to drink milk after a certain age anyway.
Right, but yeah,
but you know, it's just like it still looks insane to me.
Well, because we're not accustomed to it, right?
One day on the show, we gotta have a glass of breast milk.
That's why it seems so.
And whoever
like,
finishes it, it's the winner.
I mean, but
you
who's breast milk?
I'm gonna get it. Nah.
Who? Wait, first off, we gotta have them tested, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can transfer diseases through breast milk.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Who's been on your nipples? Because we not gonna just drink it.
I'm so immature, bro.
My eyeballs are going over.
Like right now, I'm just thinking about nipples dripping.
I'm thinking like
It's
this.
just like
I'm thinking like
pumped.
this. That's something.
And we about to drink that. That's insane to me.
When's the last time you had your nipples sucked? Who was it? And were they tested?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you gotta go through.
But we don't do that with cows.
And what do you eat?
You gotta
what
do
do
blood
eat?
work.
What does she eat?
We don't do that with cows.
Does she eat healthy or does she
What do
eat
cows
GMOs?
eat? Cows eat fertilized grass, man.
Fertilized grass, terrible.
Now they're just giving them corn. Like
And that good old fertilized grass milk is what I like.
Corn is
my
not
Captain
even-
Crunch.
Corn has no nutrients, so it's just like you just feeding them just to fill their stomachs. That's it.
Oh, man.
Funny thing is, you know, some people would consider this appropriate conversation.
Well, I
And
think,
it's completely natural. And someone would say, well, it's your intent. How do you mean it? How is it? It's not intent, it's what it is. It's
I find it
natural, all
funny
natural.
because of that. Because people are gonna find it inappropriate. Honestly,
yeah.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm not laughing because of the whole method.
Well, I'm laughing because of all of it. It's funny to me.
It's all funny.
It's foreign to me.
It is foreign. We don't. This is not a normal conversation. So it's not like we be just like. Yo,
It's not a normal conversation.
So
with
who you buying
man.
your breast milk from today?
Right.
You know, we don't do
But
that.
I remember I talked about this, but it's that famous 4th episode. Go back and watch it, man. Leave me a comment. I talked about this, man. In the future, we're gonna, that's gonna be a thing. We're not doing anything to do with animals,
I remember that.
our clothes, anything with plastic, anything like. We're gonna look at it the way we live in life. Maybe not us.
I recall that. In fact, we talked similar about this in another episode afterwards.
Right, but these are I want to keep going back to it when we speak about these particulars. You know what I'm saying? The conversation of drinking breast milk, I don't think is going to be that foreign in the future. It's just really not that.
Yeah, I think
it's not that. It sounds absurd.
I think that some companies going to get ahead of it, and they're going to solicit women, and then put them in positions where they're working.
Well, that's a scary thing.
There already is that.
It's very.
There's this lady. There's a whole video about it that she does that for a living. She sells her breast milk. Like she produces a lot. And I know that she said for her in particular, like she produces a lot more than the average woman. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why she does it. But I mean, they have.
Well,
those
some
things.
some women their children are like 15 years old and you know and they still produce milk. You know, if you was to
Go ahead, say it.
You about to
This
say
isn't
it.
inappropriate.
What you're about to say?
You're gonna say
no, because thinking about it, you suck
You suck on the what?
On the teats.
On the teeth.
That's what you didn't
Say
say.
it,
Right
man.
word.
What you talking about?
The teats.
The teats.
I don't know. That's what you say with animals.
And
Right?
then they like, and they feel embarrassed, like, oh my God, I'm still, you know, sorry, I'm still producing milk after all
Oh
these
my
years.
God.
But no, some people, some women still produce milk.
I mean, who would we to say that's inappropriate or
It's not inappropriate. It's just a
Right.
funny, unusual conversation to have,
Yeah.
even though it's as natural as it is.
Because
it's
you know
not.
what
Let's get out of here. I don't want to
get
talk about. I don't want to talk about breast milk no more.
Oh my God! All right, segue back to the bed. Back to the bed.
No, actually, I do want to recognize.
No, the bed where you sit on the bed down under the covers.
Oh,
man, but-
yeah.
What?
Yo,
No, I seen an article.
I'm
on
like,
Facebook.
don't ruin.
I seen an article on
ruin it.
Facebook, and
Yeah.
somebody was saying, "Now I understand why they say don't sit on the bed and don't sit on the bed with your outside clothes." Because there was a guy sitting with his pants down on the train, you know, with his butt out,
Right.
and yes, you just never know. That's
I
why-
really like that. To me, I mean, I don't like crumbs and all of that on the bed. I don't. All of that is disgusting.
Well, yeah. Honestly, when I walk in the house, I just like to just take off all those clothes.
Yeah, that's
you
that's
know.
just nasty. But I do want to recognize today, get away from jokes a little bit. Today's National Law Enforcement Day.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely want to recognize that.
Right. Thank you guys for service. You know, and by the way, there are really good cops out there.
Right.
I've experienced really helpful and protective cops. You know, and I don't know if they get. You know, I've been in situations where a cop literally stood by me the whole entire time and totally understood my situation.
Is cop a derogative term towards police? I don't know, right?
it's like a slang.
Is it?
Is it really?
I don't know. I'm just, I wouldn't know.
Cop, police
Police
officer,
officer.
civil service. You know,
Yeah, but it's
politically correct. I
It's
guess.
like, you know,
I don't know, I
saying.
wouldn't
I think
know.
it's like saying like from like children and kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know,
Like, I
kids are
don't
like baby goats or something like that.
think- Yeah, so maybe I don't know. I gotta look up where
No,
where
that's true.
cops come
Kid
from.
does mean baby goat or baby calf. Now the definition is somewhat changing. They would say child. Now they adding that to it. So
Child.
yeah. If you look it up now, they
Yeah.
added it with that.
Definitely shout out to law enforcement all around the world.
Yeah.
You know, certain places, especially now where war is actually high alert, stuff like that.
So they have, you know,
Keeping
to spend
themselves
extra
safe.
hours, yeah.
While thinking about their family and even our law enforcement here in the States.
In New York City or in New York, in America. Yes.
In America, yeah, in New York City as well.
Absolutely, we definitely need law enforcement. They will save you from a lot of situations that you would take matters in your own hands and find yourself in a really bad situation. A lot of people, culturally wise, I would say would say we don't deal with the police. And I'm sure they have their reasons because you do have, unfortunately, every profession and any situation you have people that will take advantage of the system.
Right.
And people has experienced that, which is why they don't trust. So I understand that also. But yeah, shout out to law enforcement worldwide. We appreciate you. You know, make life a lot easier.
Yes.
So before that, I popped up on Twitter today looking for content.
Yeah.
Or something to talk about, and I see Slick Rick on the top of the trending.
Really?
And I'm not gonna lie, my heart stopped. I'm like, yo, something happened to Slick Rick? But nah, he just dropped 2 songs. And
Did he really?
Oh,
yeah. So
I gotta
after this,
check it
I'm
out.
about to play it because I'm like, I got scared. Like, dang, that's
I know.
crazy.
I know.
Isn't that something like when you see someone's name trending #1 on Twitter or anywhere? It's like,
Yeah, you don't want to.
did something happen to them? Like,
Yeah, you don't want to hear that negative.
right.
Especially somebody that hasn't really been in the limelight recently.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you guys like? I know we touched on this before, but would you consider Slick Rick a legend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that word is used like very, loosely. But
I mean, Slick
I think
Rick.
it's subjective too.
Come on. Honestly, I know Slick Rick's song better than any other song in music.
Well, I think in writing,
And I'm talking about a long song.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
but I think in writing, when people write lyrics,
Yes.
I think it's very underrated how people word things.
Mm-hmm.
They think people just write a story. It's really word placement. I think he's very underrated in that regard. I think people like Drake, or even Kanye West, whoever, if Kanye wrote it or not, word placement is very powerful because it allows you to digest what they're saying and then also tell a cohesive story or narrative.
Yeah.
But he's definitely one of the best ever to
And just to be clear,
I feel like he's timeless, like his music. Like, you know, I didn't really grow up in that era, but I enjoy it. Like the storytelling, I feel like it's very clever and like well thought out. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's I would say Slick Rick is a genius. I see him sometimes. I won't say where. I see him often. I've been around, just passing. You know, we go to the same stores and stuff, and you know, he's living his life. It's good to see him. He's healthy. You know, he has money. He's good. He's in a good place. You know, I never said anything to him. You know, I believe people should have their peace. I don't think you should be running up to people. What's up? You know, I've been a fan forever and all of that crazy nonsense. But it's nice to see people that has inspired you and made life fun. My favorite, I would say my favorite rap song of all time to sing, or probably that I enjoyed the most, or I could even say ever, would be Lottie Dottie, Slick Rick. Never thought about it like that.
Right.
I know practically that whole entire song, and I don't know practically any other.
You don't know Mona Lisa?
I don't know Mona Lisa.
You
know,
I mean, I know most of the words.
I know most of the words. Like Mona Lisa.
It was one. No.
It was one of those days. But Lottie Dottie, we like to party. I don't cause trouble. I don't bother nobody. I mean,
It's definitely the way it's.
If you
the art form of him writing it.
Yeah, he's like Lottie Dottie, Lottie Dottie, Lottie Dottie. I mean, for him to even make it using like the way he pronounced everything and the flow is
that can't be taught. That's something that's
smooth, man.
That's something that's
who writes like that. This is how we get the Eminems and we get, you know, all these other rappers because of people like him. They listen to his story. His story really takes you to like you really visualize exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
He's walking you through a journey. He's taking your mind somewhere, and no matter where you at or what you're doing, you're walking. You're like in another universe. You're in his world, and that takes a lot to be able to do something like that. To be able to entertain someone for that time and just keep them there with you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you would, you know, even now, maybe it's more distractions, but truthfully, people talk more at those times versus a lot of the social media. So that could arguably go both ways depending on who's presenting what, but the distractions are always there.
Right.
You know, you hear a lot of songs, and like you said, that's why I like Drake. I think, you know, Drake is one of the best rappers of all time, and I know a lot of people say that premature, blah blah blah.
I don't think it's premature,
but I listen to him.
Yeah.
You know, and
he's definitely one of the best writers. I mean, I think he's highly underrated in that regard. Just like, and he takes high esteem in his writing, but I think what takes away from that legacy is the rumors of people writing his songs. Even though I think the more savvy of a fan would understand that he was doing other people's concepts of songs. And I think that's a lot different than someone flat out writing your song.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an argument to be had. But you know, so far from what he's written, and even now, his writing is pretty much like unmatched. But you know, with the Kendricks and the Coles, and you know, certain people.
But I do feel like it is changing over time. Not saying that it shouldn't change. You know, like if artists kept doing the same thing over and over, it would get boring.
Right.
But I do feel like he is taking a different direction when it comes to it. Like even I realize that a lot of his older songs, like he would have like two separate beats. I noticed that the recent songs that he's putting out, he's just kind of like riding out the same beat. And like, but I think it brings more attention to his like what he's saying and things like that. You know what I mean? His flow. So, you know,
I think he's just coasting the game. He's staying afloat, trying to survive the change. Because right now, music's in a weird place. You don't really know what style's predominant. Like, the Baby's the biggest rapper out right now, I would say. But you can't rap like him. Like, no one's going to use that flow without flat out, you know, getting called out for it. It's so like in your face rather than how the Migos flow was.
yeah.
You could kind of sneak off to the MGJ and like all of those, you know, certain, you know, different kind of cadences, but the Baby's flow is the Baby's flow.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a transition in rap. We just don't know where it's at. But I think what's threatening that and what is actually emerging is the sound of underground rap. It's actually starting, like Griselda and like a couple like other Boston groups in New York. Brooklyn sound they have their own sound now in New York. And just different artists from different places other than that Atlanta sound starting to emerge. So it's like we don't know where we're gonna be, and so I think whatever Drake comes out with has to be different. I don't know if that UK sound is gonna be it for me. I think he needs to step away from that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You know, because him and Kanye for the past 10 years have been the pioneers of what the sound was, and even at the times we didn't even. Like, if you look back at reviews of old Drake projects, you're like, they're lackluster. But now they age so well. They just, you know, they're not dated. It's like, doesn't sound like 2010. This doesn't sound like 2015. You know, so I think right now is a perfect opportunity.
I think it's funny, and it makes me, you know, see how, I wouldn't say ignorant, but how people follow trends so badly, because they feel they at a risk of not looking cool. I hear people say, "Oh, I don't, Drake's in his feelings," as if that means they no longer listen to Drake. It's just, you know.
Well, I mean, I think now is more of an accepting thing for people to be in their feelings. Like even like, you know, YWM Melly and certain people that they're considered street, but now they're getting into their feelings as well. So I think people are shying away from that, and the people that don't want to break away from that, whatever they hold as hip hop, they don't really know their history. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
But it's still a trend when you think about it.
Right.
It's just because it's more of an open conversation that rappers are feeling more comfortable to talk about their feelings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it kind of like diminishes the importance. You know what I mean? It'd be different if they put music out regardless of what's the trend at the time, or, you know, what's the open conversation. You know what I mean? So I think I respect artists more that do it regardless of what's going on. Like, they just, you know what I mean? They feel the need to put that on in their music.
Right.
Well, I think what's for me, I'm thinking about the person that's saying that Drake's in his feelings. They're also listening to a lot of just degrading in music, and that's more cool than to listen to how somebody feels about another person in a good way or just in their way. You know what I mean? So I just think that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, which, like, and I know Drake. I wanted to also say this real quick. Drake did a song with who was it? Future. What do you think? Yeah,
I like the song.
you like it?
I mean, I always like the Drake and Future.
Yeah, collab.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't favor that kind of Drake. They feel like it's you know.
I listen to the album with Future like every day.
Right.
Like every day for some, like,